Mr. Carl Davis, tell me about your childhood.
Growing up, I had my mom and my dad in the house up until fourth grade. I had my sister and my brother, they were in the house. And I was forced to grow up fast because when I was going into my fifth grade year, my mom and dad got divorced. And once that happened, I became the man of the house, and I had a lot of responsibilities, and I had to step up, and I couldn't live like a normal child. I had to take care of a lot of responsibilities, like, make sure the grass was cut, make sure the lawnmower worked, doing stuff like that, fixing the porch, if I could, do whatever I could around the house as far as providing enough manpower to do what I had to do.
What type of impact did that have on you as a young person?
It forced me to grow up because I had to look at things different. I couldn't really be a kid. I had to realize my decisions affected other people, like my family, my sister, my brother, my mom, even people around me. So I was just forced to make, adult-like decisions at a young age, and it was a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Tell me about going to school in Detroit.
Yeah, so I went to McFarland Elementary School on Joy Road in Cheyenne. I used to walk to school every day, and little things like that you learn to appreciate, especially with me. Once I got to fifth grade, I had to go out to Dearborn Heights Public Schools because the Detroit public school system was a decelerated program for me. I was in a classroom where kids couldn't read as well. We were behind in the programs, and I was one of the only kids that could read. So I was an all-A student there. It was pretty easy for me. Never had any problems in class, maybe besides probably being a class clown because my work was always done. But other than that, I was a good student. Then I went on to Dearborn Heights Public Schools. And then after that, I realized I wasn't such a great student. We were doing addition, subtraction, and division in Detroit Public Schools, and these guys are already on basic algebra. So I'm behind the 8 ball already starting off. So I wasn't the student I thought I was, and I had to catch up and grow up again faster than most kids in my neighborhood.
How did it make you feel going to a different school and then feeling like you were not at the same level the other students?
It was discouraging a lot of times. For one reason, I was different. I'm going to a predominantly white school, and at this time, I really haven't been around many white people. Then also I'm behind, so I'm just looking like the dumb black student right now. And obviously I'm an athlete, so obviously they know I can play sports. So I'm looking like a typical guy, and I didn't like that. And then also I felt like I was missing out on my own culture. Being away from Detroit Public Schools, even though I'm driving home every day to the same block I was on, I feel like I was missing out. I was missing out on the loop on what was going on in their schools, and as these guys getting older. But like I said, it was a blessing and a curse. And blessing because it advanced me further along than these guys, in a lot of areas. And like I said, forced me to grow up while these guys are probably still kind of behind. And but a curse because I felt like an outsider. I felt like I was conflicted. Here I am. I live in the hood. I go to the suburb schools, and I don't know how to really handle it. But later on in life, it kind of helped me out because now I know how to deal with being in both areas. I know how to deal with both parties and treat it the same way.
Why don't you share with me your high school experience?
So my first high school I went to was Dearborn Heights, Annapolis. I went there for a semester. That's when I first really started playing football, and that was tough too. It was different because the program wasn't very good, and I felt like I was out of place too. And I even had a coach to tell me I was a waste of talent. Because I didn't know that was my first year really playing football. I didn't know what I was doing. I grew up doing boxing and basketball for most of my life. And, a guy came up and told me, he was like, "You ain't nothing but a waste of talent." And I'm like, No, I really feel like you just don't know how to coach me. I'm out of position. And so I kind of took that to heart, and I rode that thing all the way to even still today, to try to prove him wrong. And that's something that stuck with me and kind of was the catalyst for me to keep doing what I wanted to do and to become the athlete I am today.
Tell me about some of the challenges you had to overcome in high school to even get into college.
One was just being in different programs. I went to 3 different high schools, started off at Annapolis. Then I moved in with my cousin to go to Hazel Park. Stayed there for a semester and a half to go there. I went there the second half of my freshman year in my 10th grade year. After that, I moved on to Dearborn Heights. Not Dearborn Heights. I went to Sterling Heights Stevenson, and some of the troubles there was just really different academics, and struggling to, get the scores I need as far as my ACT and raising my GPA as much as I could.
Okay, so how does a kid from Detroit get all the way to uh, Stevenson High School every day?
I had a situation where um, my mom had got remarried, and we were in the process of getting ready to move to Sterling Heights, but due to the situation we were in, we weren't able to get a house till later on, and I was forced to move in. Not really forced to, but I had to make a decision to move in with a family to go to this school. And I made the decision to do that, and they accepted me with open arms, and I'm thankful for that. And that's kind of, how I got to Stevenson. But the long haul was, start off in Annapolis. Then I went to Hazel Park, and I was living with my cousin. And sometimes I would stay back on Joy Road. I would take 3 buses. I would take West Chicago to Schaefer up to 8 Mile, 8 Mile over to DeQuinder, and then walk up to 9 Mile to get to school every day. When I was staying back at home, and sometimes living with my cousin.
How did it feel having to live with a different family? Tell me about that experience.
At first, I was nervous because, here I am moving in with somebody I don't know at all, and also a different culture than me. And it's like, I'm wondering, how is this going to be for me? Am I going to be uncomfortable? Like, I started off when I first stayed there, I was in the basement a lot. I stayed in the basement, rarely came upstairs because I just wanted to stay to myself and just be where I was most comfortable at. Then later on, I started, I played football with a guy, Mike Wesner, who was their son, and got to know him, and we started hanging out more, and everything started becoming really natural, and we started accepting each other and really talking about the differences. And he wanted to know about my life, being on Joy Road, what is it like, and joking about it. And I'm asking him about his life, and I'm riding to school with him. He's driving a Mustang. I'm like, hey, I'm good. Like, this is totally different from me, like catching a bus. So I'm here now, riding with Mike to school in his Mustang. So that was cool for me.
Why did you choose Iowa, and were there any challenges with you getting in there?
I chose Iowa because it was a traditional program, and Coach Ferentz has been there for a while, and I respected that program, and they were known for being a tough program. And the challenge that I did have was taking the ACT. I had to take it 6 times, and that was a struggle for me. And it was times I wanted to do other things instead of, get up at 7:30 to go get ready to take an ACT. I had camps that I missed out on. One specifically was the Kentucky camp I really wanted to go to try to see if I can get an SEC offer. But I had to test that Saturday, and I couldn't go, and all my friends were, and that was a struggle for me. And it wasn't that, I wasn't smart as anybody else, but I was just lacking in certain areas where other people already had grew upon to have a proper education where I was missing out on.
Tell me about the opportunity to play NFL football.
Obviously, it starts in college. Had a decent couple years. Started 2 years. Was a 2-time second team All Big Ten. And I just, I went to work in college, and I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to get drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 3rd round. And that was just through all my hard work and all the coaching I had and the help I had on the way.
What is your passion nowadays?
My passion right now is building my own community where I'm from, and that's the Joy Road area. I'm really passionate about that because kids deserve to have opportunities. Kids shouldn't have to take 3 buses to get to school. Kids shouldn't have to leave their homes and travel miles just to go to school. We should be able to have recreation centers in these places. I shouldn't have to go 20 miles just to go to a recreation center. You know what I mean? So that was my big thing. What I want to do right now is really give back, rebuild these homes, build a recreation center, and to be able to help the community out. And right now I start my own foundation. It's called the Trenchwork Foundation. And the goal is to rejuvenate that area on the west side and to give these people nice and affordable homes so that they can maintain a nice lifestyle and that their kids can have a community that they feel safe in, and these kids can get the help they need as far as after school programs, help with homework, athletic clubs, just figure themselves out and get the opportunity to learn themselves and what they like.
How do you want to change the Davis legacy? What is it now? What has it been? And what would you like it to be in the future?
My name means a lot to me right now. I carry my dad's name, and it really wasn't honestly until he passed till I got to realize his life. I was at his funeral, and I was fortunate enough to hear about all his friends and all the great stuff that my dad was actually doing, what type of person he was. And I realized that me and him are very similar in a lot of ways, as far as our athletic ways and how we are as far as character wise. And it was a tough moment, but it was refreshing to actually get to know my dad, because growing up I never really got to know my dad due to mental illness. And that was tough on me, knowing that later on down the road that my dad was kind of sick mentally. And my thing is to really uphold that name and make it something great. My dad was a good athlete, and he was drafted by the Kansas City Royals out of high school. And he didn't really ask for help when he got to college, because he decided to go to college, and he found out that he was dyslexic, and so he failed out of college. And he was supposed to be living the life that I was living right now and be the first to have this tradition. And I take with pride to hold up the name and finish off what he had started.
What is trench work, and how did it get started?
Trench work is a mindset. Trench work is, you got a mind to grind. You know what I mean? I started in college my junior year. I was sitting in my room. I had just woke up from a nap, and I think everybody's getting ready to go out, and I didn't have any clothes. And I'm like, man, I'm tired of wearing everybody else's clothes. And initially it started as a clothing line, and I started had a little bit of money to start my clothing line. I used my financial aid money, and I started messing around with it, writing down some names, and I came up with trench work. And trench work came up because I play in the trenches, and we do a lot of dirty work, and guys don't get noticed for taking on double teams, or that quarterback hit might not get noticed, but it plays a factor in the game, and people don't realize it. So trench work is for the people that grind hard and do a lot of dirty work but get little to no recognition. And so I wanted to make a clothing line for the blue collar people, the people that go hard every day and don't really get noticed. And so I'm taking that mindset with me, not only of course to the gridiron, but off the field though. I'm going back to the trenches. I'm going back to the hood. I'm going back to give back and make that something better. You know what I mean? Because that's something that people won't do. And, right now that's an area that gets little to no recognition. And I feel like it's a gold mine, but people don't see it the same way as I do.
For the people who watching this video, what do you want them to leave with after they watch the trench work video?
I just want to have an understanding of who I am and what I'm about, and that it's really about the community. I'm the type of person, I want to give back to my community, use my platform, being in the NFL, to give back to the community. I feel like it's more people that should do this. I feel like we can all change the world if everybody sticks together. Nobody's bigger than the next person, and together we can all get something accomplished, and not just change one neighborhood, but we can change the city, we can change the state, we can change the nation, even the world.
Well, Mr. Davis, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. I think you are a great young man, good brother.
Appreciate it.